Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. We are going to do some work on the trailer today. And some of that includes, we're gonna do some water sealing. So this is a brand from a local store called Corrals. I'm not sure where they're all at, but we have one in Elk City. So I got that to do the wood. And we are also going to work on getting that installed. So that's the plan for this one. So let's get into it. So obviously the first thing we're gonna do is get this thing, start sealing it, get the wood sealed up so it's protected somewhat from the weather when it's outside. And I'm probably gonna try to figure out a way of doing underneath too. But and Dick's finally joining us, I see. So let's get go ahead on this. So I almost forgot, I also bought a few of these anchor points. So I think I'm gonna put one like back in this area here, and then a couple up front here on this C-channel, so that way I have an extra couple points to strap down to. All right, so I got the first coat on there. I'm not sure how many coats. I gotta read the instructions again, and you can see where it's starting to a little dry a little bit right there, and absorb a little bit more. So definitely touch up a few of the places. But I don't know how I can describe the smell of this stuff, but it's not pleasant. It is, it's like him times 10 when he's filling the room with his excrement. So I don't know, it's a really odd smell and it's not very good. But we got the first coat done, and I overdid. Like I just sprayed it on, or like spread it on there as much as possible. Just try to get down the cracks and everything. So I'm sure I'm making a mess on the floor a little bit. But that's okay, because I want this thing to be sealed. And you can see these areas that are definitely absorbing it a little bit more. We'll need a little bit more of the sauce on there. All right, so I went over some of the areas that looked a little drier than the other areas. So let this dry. I'm gonna go feed myself, feed the dogs, and let this dry. So see you in a little bit after lunch. All right, so I just got done with lunch. Had a nice bologna sandwich. Fed the dogs and came back out, and it's looks like it's pretty dry now. Although today's a bad day. Apparently it's a bad day to do this, because let me go look at this, see what it is in here. So we got about, what, 59% humidity, which ain't bad, but when you're trying to paint something, it's not the best. And I'm not sure how this stuff works as far as that moisture goes, but hopefully that'll work. And still got dry a little bit more. You can see right there was an area that's still drying. But you can definitely see the difference in color. So now we got mount a winch and some mounting points, some D rings. So for these rings, I think one of the places I want to put is back here in this area. So, you know, I can, so I can actually like do a strap to the back of the car in this area. Kind of have to see where the load puts us to level it out for weight distribution, but definitely need more tie downs than just these side ones. So I think I'm gonna put one there, one on that side, one on each side, maybe one in the middle too. That wouldn't be too bad. And then I'm putting the winch out here, and I'll explain that in a minute, why I'm doing that. I'm also thinking putting these up in here as well, someplace. So I have a nice center area to latch onto, because there's nothing on the front here. I have to go all the way down underneath if I want to do that. So I guess this is the best bet, is putting it up there. So let's get into doing some of that. So I think one of the first things I want to do is get into this winch here. So the reason why I went with this one is, for one, the 12,000 pounder it was $600. This one I got out the door with a coupon for $220, and it's a 5,500 pounder, and it's got a 50-foot roll, so that's good. But 5,500 pounds is more than enough for most cars. My Camaro only weighs like 3,800 pounds. The Firebird's only 3,200 pounds, 3,300 pounds. Eventually I do want to upgrade to a 12,000 pounder, but if I really need to move something bigger, then I can get a snatch block or a couple snatch blocks and make those work. So the other thing that had me convinced on this one is got the IP69K and IP68 ratings, which is completely water resistant. It's a water stream up to 1,400 psi, so it's basically waterproof and dustproof. So those are two things I wanted. And yeah, so let's get her opened up and see what we got here. It's supposed to come with a mounting plate too, so we have to add some metal to add some metal to the trailer to mount this down to. Look at that, give me a little, I don't know what the heck that's for. A baggie to cover it with. Where does that go? I don't know, it goes somewhere on it. So first things first, yep, it does. It has a mounting plate. So I want to be able to make this removable too. So I'm going to make a plate on the trailer, and then I'm going to make this bolt to that plate. So just the plate's just going to be there for support. There's the hook for it. That's a pretty nice hook. Of course, the little red strap. And it's got the, what's it called? Oh, that's nice, brushed aluminum. It also has a dashboard button, which I'm not going to be using, obviously. Maybe if I'll put on the back of the trailer someplace or something to use it back there. The power junction block for it, power relays, hardware, boots for the electrical, and the actual hitch. Or the hitch, yeah, the winch. And all the wirings are the remote. It doesn't have wireless, but the wireless remote for these are like there's two different ones. One is 34, I think, the other one's 59. So everything, and the actual hitch. That's a decent small size too, so. But this will, do what I'm gonna do over there, and it could be quiet. I'm gonna make it so I can adapt up to a 12,000 pounder, but this will do plenty for what I need to do, at least for now. And it might not be enough for when I gotta pull a car out of a field that's been sitting for 20 years, or more. But, you know, like I said, add a snatch block or two, and that increases your pulling capacity. So, all right, so we got the unboxing done. This is the main thing I wanted to get out, was the mounting plate. So I want to get that centered in there, but I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do I got some 1/4-inch plate. I think I'm gonna do, I'll get into that in a minute. All right, so over here, what I want to do is get some of the 1/4-inch. I get some 1/4-inch by 4-inch plate. And basically I'm going to make a plate that comes out here. So I'm going to have an extended plate coming out, and that way it solidifies it, and I'll put gussets in it to make it even stronger and weld it directly to it, plus bolt it. So what I'm going to do is probably go up to the bottom of this. Oh, nope, can't do that, there's wiring. But we'll figure it out. We'll definitely do some bolts as well to bolt it in there, because that's got to be bolted down. And yeah, so we'll figure it out. We'll get a plan together and do it. All right, so after doing some thoughts or some thinking and going through a thought process on what I can do to make this more easily removable, I decided to get a removable winch mount. And the one I got is this one right here, that actually will go into a regular hitch. I keep saying hitch, right? So a winch mount. So I got a regular winch mount here. And so God dang, I can't think right now. But anyways, so I want to make it removable and easily removable. This has handles on it and comes with everything I need. And it just goes into a normal 2-inch hitch. So what I need to do Now is I'm gonna add this hitch to the back of the front of the trailer, but I want it to go through. So I want it to be on this side basically. So I'm gonna be cutting a hole in here and making it where it attaches there. So we'll get into that and get to do some cutting and grinding and drilling and all kinds of stuff to make this thing fit the way I want it to. So that's what the plan is now. First we gotta do is get this thing put together. All right, so we got that fully assembled, and let's take it over the trailer, see where it needs to be. We're gonna center it up really well. And I think we'll take the hitch and attach it as well. So that way I know where that needs to be. I think it's gonna raise it up just enough to go over that lip, which will be perfect. So let's do it. Let me get it centered here. That's 40 to the side. That's perfect right there. That's directly centered. All right, so we see how far it's sticking out, but what I'm gonna do, this piece here is gonna mostly be on this side. So I need to cut a hole through this, so this can go all the way that way. And it'll pin in from this side, and this will put this almost, well, not quite up against it, but about whatever that distance is out from it. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. So we gotta do some cutting, some drilling to get that to work. So let's do it. So we use a silver Sharpie to mark the hole and mark where we want to be. And there we go. There's the markings. So now we got that figured out. I can take this pin out. Well, the good thing is that thing stays in there pretty well. All right, there we go. Separate that, and now, so basically what I want to do is have that on the outside. So what I need to do is I'm going to cut the hole to be this size, and it'll just be up on the ledge of this a little bit. But it should fit almost perfectly. Yep. It's almost the exact size of what it needs to be in there. So what we're gonna do. Okay, so I've remarked the hole for the bigger end, and I'm gonna drill out each corner, and then I'll start from the other side and work that way because it's a lot easier to work on the outside. So we'll pull the box off and then go from the outside to get that hole made to fit this hitch through. Going a little bit inside the corner of the size, so just realized that thing's shaking pretty good. Hopefully it's not shaking on the camera, but that way I can drill it out to a bigger size hole when it comes time to do it. So I hope my drilling skills were a little better on that one than they were for the demonstration of the Hercules step bits. Oh, and by the way, I broke one of those when I was putting this on. All right, so we got the pilot holes drilled. Let's go get the box off so we can work from the outside. It'll be a lot easier that way. So even though I broke one of the step bits, I'm going to use the other one to get these holes out to size. And I'll be using a die grinder and whatever else is needed to make this hole when it comes time. There you have it. Now I just got to connect all the dots. So I think probably grinder's next. Cut off wheel. I'm going to check to see how shaky this video was. Well, let's get her cut out. All right, so we got her in there now, and she's pretty flat up against there. There's a couple little edges I gotta take off maybe, but overall it's fitting where I want it. And as you see, now there's a hole that comes through there, and then the hitch will go into that and pin right here. So I think we're good. Now I just gotta weld it all in there. All right, so we got all the welding areas cleaned up and ready to go. I didn't film any of that, but next thing's gonna be get the welder out and weld this thing on there permanently. I got a feeling I'm gonna run out of gas though in the middle of it, but if we don't, then we don't. But if we do, I'll have to get some tomorrow when I go to town. Well, got her welded on there. The welds look all right. They're definitely going to hold. So, in the spirit of a trailer, even though it's not a ratchet strap, that ain't going nowhere. But anyways, just got to clean it up a little bit and then paint it, and that part will be done. I don't know yet if I'm going to reinforce the bottom. We'll just see how it performs and go from there, because I thought about doing a gusset down here, like underneath here, but we'll decide that later. The other thing is make sure you have the clean surfaces too, because there's still paint and powder coat, and I thought that was the problem with the popping and whatever, but I did actually run out of gas. Still didn't come out too bad there at the bottom. That was the last little bit, so don't judge me. But yeah. So that part is good. All right, got her all painted up, got the box back on. So there you go, Pete. You get to see what the box looks like on there now. And that is a completed project. So now I can move this in and out anytime I want to, anytime I need to use it. So, yeah, I don't know if I really need these handles on there, but it is kind of nice to be able to pick it up that way. Especially when I get a 12-tonner, that'll make a big difference. So what's left to do on this is I got to wire everything. I'm going to put all electronics in the box, so that way, you know, it's a cleaner look and it's not just hanging out everywhere. And so yeah, that'll be the next step. All right, so it is the next day. As you can see, I got the winch in there and it's locked in. So now it's possible to use it. We just got to wire it. But first, before we do the wiring, we're going to mount some more D-rings, a couple back here along this wedge, so we're going to mount them right up inside of here. Then I'm going to do 3 back here on the back. So I put one right here, one right in the middle, and then one on this side. So that's the plan for today, is getting those D-rings on there and getting the winch wired up. All right, so that's the layout right there. So it's 83 inches across, so it's 41.5 inches to the center. And I got them 4 inches out from the edge on the outsides. And then the front ones, kind of marked to be basically right in the middle of this piece of plank right there. So that's 11.5 inches in from the end on both sides. So I think that'll work pretty good. Now he's got to weld them. All right, so I got the rear ones all welded up and installed. And nice and floppy so they can be used easily. That one's still really hot, so I'm not going to touch it. But so I got the 2 front ones to do, but I got, you know, what is that? 3/5 of them done. So when I get done with those ones, I'll come back and show you the finished product. Of course, I got to paint them too. All right, so we got the front ones welded on now. So he's got to throw some paint on all of it, and that part will be done, and we can get into wiring our winch. All right, so we got them all welded, all painted. I don't care about overspray, just extra protection for the wood, in my opinion. So now they kind of hide away too. Now they're not so bright and shiny. So next thing we gotta do is start putting all this stuff in, all the wiring. All right, so this is all the wiring there is for this winch. These two wires go directly to the winch. And then you have your module here that controls it. You got an on-off switch, basically just kills power to everything. And of course we have the remote control over here. But this just plugs in, so there's nothing really to wire with that. There's also a button you can put on a dash, but I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. And I'm missing some parts that I want to do to make this modular. So I basically can unplug it and have everything still in there, but the winch be separate. So I'm going to finish up this video here. I'm going to do a separate video doing the wiring for the winch. All right, that's going to finish up the video on doing the mods on the trailer. And like I said, basically all I have to do is the wiring. I'm going to do a completely separate video for that because I want to make it modular. And it's going to take a little bit of time, and this video is already 20 minutes long. So we'll do that separately on another video, but I just wanted to say thank you for sticking around and being here this long. So if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down there. Leave me a comment. Let me know what I can do better. And subscribe while you're at it. And until next time, I will see you all later.